Love 15.
This is her first meeting between the two. And Chloe, having been born in Versailles, was not too far away from the French Tennis Federation, which in her day would have been actually on the site at Roland Garros. It's a little down the road now.
Love 30.
This is a player who's not really used to being on the biggest courts and the stages of world tennis, and it might take her a little time to settle here.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday with Jinyu Zhao, who beat Haddad Shmaev, first top 20 player she ever played, and she said, I needed a set and a half to get used to the crowd, to the largeness of the court, and I think there might be some to it here for Chloe as well today. And you see here that clay quarter, right, running around the backhand, very far off the court to use her forehand. That's what she will try to do today, Chloe. Look for her forehand whenever she can.
Yes, it's not just that this Ken Rosewell Arena, 10,500 can pack in here, but also your teammates and your coach are on the court with you in those pods. You're very connected to them. That's a really good start for Team France. An ideal opener for Paquet. Well, so much experience in the commentary box here, but also courtside as well. Yelena, happy Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Sam and Andrea. Good to be with you. Really excited here to be in Sydney and at the United Cup.
This is someone that you've practiced against a lot, so I'd love to hear about that. But also, it's a little cooler today here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Well, we were all here yesterday. It was 38 degrees. It was very humid and inside the stadium here, but perfect conditions today, I have to say. It is 26 degrees per my weather app and 60% humidity, and it really is just perfect conditions to play here. There is, I have to say, a bit of tension with both teams. You can see it down here. It's the first match, and there's just a bit of nerves. I think you can see it in the team's box. You can see it with the players, with both Belinda and Chloe as well. But straight away, what you can see is Belinda's really trying to be aggressive and take advantage and be the aggressor out here on the court. So really looking forward to seeing how this match develops.
She hasn't forgotten that play, has she, Andrea? You have played her on multiple occasions. You played her when she was early on in her career, and you played her only a couple of years ago. So I'm going to leave the floor to you.
Well, she actually retired me, so thank you for that, Belinda. And I still love her, so that just tells you a lot about her character. And Yelena just hit the nail right on the head. She tries to stay on the line, take the ball early, can really redirect the ball, especially on the backhand side. It will goes cross court down the line. You can't really tell when she's going to go where. That's the side that
15 all.
Can go off sometimes, that forehand side. Sometimes she doesn't accelerate the wrist, just tries to sort of guide the ball. but a very dangerous player. Career high of #4 in the world.
It feels like a well-trodden path all of a sudden in the last few years of having returning mums come back to the tour and actually not being too bowled over by Angelique Kerber. I remember this time 12 months ago, came back here at the United Cup.
Yeah, 14-15.
But sensibly, she did play a little at the back end of last season, played 10 matches. I think most importantly won that first match back as a mum. Get that one out, get that one out of the way. Played just some small tournaments in Luxembourg and in France. Made the final of a 1-2-5, which is just below the tour level. So just easing her way back in.
Nice play from Paquet, and that's something
40-13.
we will have to keep an eye on Belinda Bencic's movement. Obviously, after such a long time out, that's the one thing that goes. The quick steps, the left to right, the long distances that you have to run on the court.
Both women settling into their first meeting. Now, you've played an awful lot. What is that key feature about Belinda that really puts a lot of pressure on you?
Well, here we have it. This is an outstanding stat. Even for all these outstanding players we have on the WTA Tour, this is incredibly outstanding. This is the first serve return hit points of Belinda Bencic, and she takes 50% of those inside the baseline. Not only that, she wins 42% of those points that she does make the first serve return, and this is an incredible stat, and you hate serving against her because if she connects, the ball is back so fast in your court that you have barely time to react, and that's one of her big strengths, their return, especially on the second serve as well. You just feel the pressure. You see Paquet here catching the ball again.
Yeah, that's when you play someone for the first time. I'm sure she's been told, oh, Bencic stands in, but until you stand there and you throw that ball and you see them inside the baseline, you can't feel it, can you? You can't understand it. I'm just wondering if Marion Bartley would have had those sort of stats back in the day.
Probably, yeah. She was also somebody. It's just also visually a different vision on the other side. It just closes the court down. And you feel like you have to serve closer to the line. It makes you miss a few serves.
15 all.
You have to be able to pull it off, obviously, with the reaction. Not everyone has the time, the eye to do it, but she does. Right on cue.
15-13. 30 all.
She's a player, a young woman, 30 years of age now, who's persisted. A couple of years ago, she was right on the verge of the top 100, 101. And that must have become such a big thing in her head. And to finally do it in August of last year must have blown her away.
And 40-30.
The tennis was obviously there. I wonder if the belief maybe was lacking.
Wow, that's so good. You can see her ending way inside the baseline. Belinda has this unorthodox technique where she puts the left foot in front, plays open stance backhands. You can see it right here. But because of her great eye, she can pull it off. And you can never tell where that backhand is going to go.
First service, left. Advantage. Team Switzerland.
Bencic pushing really hard early on here.
And Yelena, I wonder how is Bencic's movement right now? You are right there in front of her.
Yeah, I think you made that point early on in the match. There's something to keep an eye on, and definitely you can see when Paquet can get her moving and get the ball out of the hitting zone, she can definitely control the point. So I think it will be important to push Belinda back, but also to expose the sidelines. Otherwise, something like this will happen. And I've got to say, you talked a lot about the return of Bencic. And I think on the first serve of Paquet, she's still trying to find where to return from. But on the second serve, so impressive. Inside the baseline, takes it so early. But the movement, and especially as this match develops, is something to keep an eye on, which is understandable when you're coming back.
Second ace in the game. Well, they're both seeing it pretty well.
Yeah, and you can see right here what Yelena was talking about just now. Paquet hitting the ball well, but not quite finding the sidelines when she had the chance, and then Bencic got into the rally.
And a couple of points that she has won already in this match, she went more through the service line. She really exposed those sidelines. So I think she has to go a little bit more, maybe away from depth, and try and get more angle.
It's pretty good from both of them, isn't it? Coming off the off season to see the ball that well. I mean, you expect first match of the year for there to be some rust and a few mistakes and some inconsistency, and you don't quite expect them to start at Mach 10, do you?
You see right here, 16 shots of fast-paced ball striking. I tell you what, Sam, I never played my first match like this in the first few games.
Andrea, I don't know, we're talking about all these comebacks. I think it's time for you to maybe think about coming back.
Oh, God, please, no.
Andrea hasn't had a baby, though. You have to have the baby first, and then you come back.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just putting it out there already.
Ian Bates is back with Bencic, worked with her many years ago, and he'll be delighted to see how much pressure she's building here. And there's a break. Super start for Team Switzerland.
Team Switzerland is 2-1. Bravissimo, Meli.
Play underway, Ken Rosewell Arena at Sydney Olympic Park. This is day one of action in Sydney, New South Wales. Of course, the tournament kicked off in Perth yesterday at RAC Arena. So we'll have play on both sides of the country today. Great to see some of our younger fans on site really enjoying the action that's underway so far in this first up match between Team France and Team Switzerland. Some good form from some of our younger fans as well. They're loving every second of it. It is a big summer of tennis down under. And it's a big start for Belinda Bencic. She's got the early break. So Team Switzerland with their nose in front. Early doors against Team France.
Love 15.
Belinda, still hard to believe that she's only 27 years of age. We remember her as a junior. She was outstanding, the best in the world at 15. Won in Paris, at Roland Garros at the girls' event there, and Wimbledon. She was way out in front.
By
2 years later, she was on the verge of the top 10, and she was tracking towards winning slams, and she's had a wonderful career. But I wonder if that is still in her head. Is there a slam in her?
Well, I always believed that there was, and I still believe there is, and I mentioned it at the top of the game. She is such a perfectionist, and she wanted it so bad that sometimes just emotionally she stood in her own way. So I wonder if having a baby, having a new perspective on life will ease that edge and maybe give her something extra to her game. That could possibly get her over the finish line of that major title.
Yeah, semi-finalist at the US Open a few years ago. It's been her best time twice, reached the last 8 there. Yes, she said with the baby Bella, she's had to be more spontaneous. You can't plan with the baby. We're going to be smooth sailing, watched on by Swiss team captain Sandra Kayev, mother of one of the players, Celine. A little opportunity here for Paquet. Perfect.
Deuce.
Same again. Here we go.
And when you're up against her, you really can't see that coming. So you're hot. You can't cheat either way.
You really cannot. You can sometimes. You get an inkling when is she going, but she's so smart. She reads the game so well. She just goes oop with the left hand. What she tried to do right there, just mishit the ball a little bit. And those are the situations you cannot duplicate in a practice session. No matter how many balls you've hit, the deuces and the being a break up and having to serve to keep the break, all these things you can only train in match situations. And so she will require a lot more of these situations to be at her very best.
In Team France. 2 games off.
So a couple of breaks, a couple of holds in the opening 4 games.
And that right there is exactly what Paquet wants to do. If she can take the ball a little bit earlier, if she can get Bencic end range, full stretch, even go back behind, but she's going to have to do that right there. And that might be a little bit uncomfortable because it's not her natural game style. She likes to have a little bit more time, got a little bit bigger swings. But that first point right there, trying to take it earlier, go through the service line, was perfect.
So
let's keep an eye on Bencic's forehand, because now a couple of errors off that side and she keeps looking over to her box and her coach as well. And I did watch her practice right before the match here on centre court, and that forehand was flying a little bit. Andrea, you said she has the tendency to guide that ball as well. She's just lifting up out of it, and a couple of errors coming off that side now.
That was a lot better here. You can see it on the backhand side. She almost never misses that whip off the wrist. She always gives it a little bit on the backhand side, and on the forehand side, just as Jelena pointed out, sometimes lifts up the upper body, then tries to guide it.
And you can really see it here courtside with the backhand. Her head is still. She goes all the way through the contact point and the follow through, whereas on the forehand, sometimes she just comes out of it a little bit.
Just like you, Jelena, on that backhand side. Head never moved. I don't think you ever moved your head on that backhand side, did you?
Yeah, I liked my backhand, didn't I?
It was just clamped. It was an invisible clamp.
I think I could still hit it pretty well, even at 1 in the morning after not playing for a year or two.
You could. I believe you. So a chance here for a second successive break of the Paquet serve.
Deuce.
She can pack a punch with that serve. Deceptively tall, 5'10 plus, or 5'10 and a half, as she puts in her biography. Usually it's the shorter players who add the half here and there. That's well played. Both women working very hard early on here.
Got to control Here we go.
Bravo, let's go get it. Come on.
Bueno, šalji si v čas, poď.
Deuce.
Fabrice Martin, former top 20 doubles player, said it was very strange to pack. Well, he's now coaching Hugo Humbert, so it was very strange to pack one racket to come here rather than 6. He's transitioned. These two are playing well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely, and I don't know if Paquet can hear Jelena, but she's really taking that advice to heart, trying to stay on the baseline, not be pushed back.
She's really trying to get Bencic even on the back end there to take the left hand off the racket. Let's tell you, this is high quality tennis. There was some nerves early on, literally it went away in that first game. They're just striking the ball beautifully. You can even hear it off their racket, the sound coming off the racket. Incredible.
Now does really well to fend off those break points, and after a couple of breaks, we're back on serve.
Team France leads 3 games to 2.
Ken Rosewell Arena is the stage for the group and the finals here at the United Cup. We're getting used to this venue for the first part of the year as we open the season in Sydney. And of course, the group stage over in Perth as well. But everyone will be here, or the 4 teams will be here for the semi-finals next weekend. Kazakhstan having a very good start over in the West, as well as China. And to get out of the group, everything counts. They may even count back to games, sets, and head-to-heads.
Ball.
I feel like I've been watching that play for over a decade now. Heavily influenced, of course, by the mother of Martina Hingis, one of the great coaches in world tennis, Melanie Molitor, who she trained with. I think her father wanted her to train there at the age of 4, and Melanie said, no, go away, do these drills and come back at 6 or 7. And Andrea, it's great that she still has the passion for the game, because she was hot-housed by Dad, Ivan, who's a former ice hockey player. I mean, he had her doing coordination drills in the garden when she was about 2 years old.
Yeah.
And he gave up his job, and they got a sponsor, and he was the CEO, wasn't he, of her tennis development.
Absolutely.
And she's played a lot, and she still wants to play. It's wonderful. That's well hustled.
It's interesting because Bencic has already kind of signalled to her boss and coach a few things about the racket. We're seeing her change her racket right here, but especially always after the forehand. So we've got a racket change there, maybe going to a tighter one perhaps.
Temperatures are so variable here from yesterday to today.
Yeah.
It's really tricky, isn't it? If you're finicky about that sort of thing, to get it right.
Yeah, especially this is their first match. Yesterday was about 10 to 15 degrees hotter, so these players have strung their racket in a certain way, and they come out here and it's 10 degrees colder. Not that it's cold coming from a German winter, but it's colder, and they will do it to the stringing right away.
Net for service.
Yeah, this is a bumper week, isn't it, for the stringers, with all the changes in temperature and humidity.
And let's not forget that they also train outside on the outside courts, which are not covered.
15,
so
14.
the actual conditions, even though it's a little bit cooler today, are still a little bit heavier inside here. So it will be a little bit slower. So that's something you need to adjust to as well.
Yeah, that is a really good point,
Yeah.
Elaine. I have to say, Paquet eyeing up another break here.
(30-40).
We've had a total of 9 break points so far between the two, and I have to say the majority of them have all been saved by first serves. It's really impressive. This is a opening match of the season.
Ball.
You mentioned Martina Hingis's mother, Sam, and you can see it here. That's her signature technique, the open stance on both sides, the taking the ball very early, standing inside the baseline whenever Belinda can, saving 2 break points here.
And again, the backhand doing all the damage. If you were warming up with Bencic and you hit a ball, and the warm-up, you hit the first ball down the middle of the court, she'd hit a backhand, wouldn't she, every time?
Yes, 100%.
It's always a good way. It's always a good trick to find out which side they prefer. Just bang it down the centre, first ball, the knock-up. Right.
See the first instinct, right? Where how do they turn their shoulders?
Right. Can she get out of this game?
Oh, well
she
done.
can, right on song.
Yeah, put a little asterisk next to that because Paquet had 2 break points there. I felt like she got a little bit tentative. All credit as well goes to Bencic for how aggressive she was. So you can see that that's her natural style of play. But Paquet was like she was waiting for things to happen or for Bencic to miss. So when you've got those opportunities against a great player like Bencic, you've got to take them. You've got to go after it.
And here we will talk a bit more about this after this point, but we were talking about Bencic's forehand. Another fantastic backhand here, and we talked about how great that backhand is, no matter at what time in the night, if she's gone or not. But the forehand, we can see it here. Bencic is a player who likes to change directions frequently, and you can see a little insecurity on the forehand side. 67% of the forehands are going cross courts. That's the safer shot. That's where she feels more secure right now. And that's an unfortunate miss because once we see her taking the forehand up the line, that's when the opponent is always in trouble because that means she's gained confidence. She trusts in that forehand down the line.
I actually really like that. Yeah, I really like that point. Like you said, Andrea, even though she missed the drive volley, that's the point she wants to play off the forehand as well, because off the backhand she's doing it and winning the points, but not off the forehand because the confidence isn't quite there yet.
15-30.
And Sam, you said to keep an eye on that movement from Bencic, and I can tell you it's been 42 minutes of play, but I'm already seeing a player that's moving better than she did in the first 15 minutes, and she's really hustling, getting a lot of balls back, just getting that extra ball, making Paquet play, which just paid dividends right there in that last point.
Wow.
Well, already broken the French run once, but has had break points in the last 3 consecutive service games. Building some pressure here as the former world number 4. That's a very good sign, and once more Switzerland up a break in this first set.
Team Switzerland leads 4 games to 3.
Earlier in the week.
So the returning mum, Belinda Bencic, and remember she's had a 16-month hiatus from September time in 2023 until playing those couple of tournaments, small events at the back end of last year. Let's see if she's... That racket's done the trick, hasn't it?
And you see the coach, is he going to give the racket to string? Yes, he is. That's what Yelena just talked about. Conditions changing frequently, so you need to adjust as quickly.
Behind the scenes at the moment, Ken Rosewall Arena, that's Alex de Minaur limbering up. Team Australia taking on Team Argentina in the evening session tonight. The world number 9, what a year he had in 2024. Quarterfinals at Wimbledon, Roland Garros, and at the US Open, got as high as number 6 in the world. He takes on Thomas Martin Etcheverry. It is the Argentinian who leads that head-to-head 1-0 after a win at Roland Garros in 2023 in the second round. But he's had a great record here at the United Cup, has Alex. Loves playing for his country. His team captain, Leighton Hewitt, of course, a great mate and mentor. Looking forward to seeing what Alex can do tonight. All Aussie eyes will be on him, but at the moment, all eyes are on Belinda Bencic, the new mum. She's up a break early in this first set. Team Switzerland against Team France.
And in the past 2 games, you can just slightly see the pace being picked up by Belinda Bencic. Sign of more confidence, just a few miles per hour more on her groundies.
She wasn't, she said, planning to come back quite so quickly, but within 3 weeks of having baby Bella, she was back on a mini tennis court, just hitting a few balls for 10-15 minutes. When you think how much she's played over the course of her life, that she wanted to get back. And actually when I bumped into her coach Ian, he said, you know what, at the heart she's a competitor. She wanted to get back, and she built up to a big court for an hour. But I think the feeling is that she's back probably earlier than they ever would have dreamed.
30-15.
Yeah. Perfect.
Now it's perfect. How very Bencic. Well, she said, coming back here, again, very honest, said, I'm about 75% ready to play, but it's the start of the season, I want to get out there, you know. Whether she'll play the mixed doubles, I think 2 matches a day is going to be a lot, but I think, first of all, she'd love to just get the win in this singles and certainly get through this first set.
It was a great strike, and I loved her scheduling. I loved that she went to these small tournaments, played a few challengers. You know, tennis players all have big egos, and she's a star of this game. She doesn't have to go back and play these small tournaments, but she knew that is what she needs to do and what she wants to have under her belt before coming to Australia. A few matches, smart scheduling there from Belinda Bencic.
Well, I wonder if she'd done it before, hadn't she? She had to go back to those tournaments when she hurt the wrist. So Paquet and Team France serving to stay in this first set.
I've got to say, for me, the turning point was the 2 break points at 3-2 for Paquet. That I like to call it Asterix moment, like Todd Woodbridge likes to say. But that was a turning point because Paquet's lost all confidence and belief and really gone tentative. And Bencic, on the other hand, just screwing confidence. And that's what the best players in the world do. They sense the moment. Whereas for Paquet, it was kind of like a letdown. And from there, she hasn't been able to recover.
I find that a fascinating point from Jelena, because when you saw those first 2 games, you have to question, why has she been on the fringes of the tour? Why has she only spent 5 weeks in the world's top 100? She looks a very good player.
Well, Andrea, you both know this, but belief and confidence is something that can take you perhaps from a Grand Slam semi and final to win it, isn't it? It's something that you really have to have. It's those 1%ers that in moments like this can take you from losing a match to winning a match. And that's perhaps, you know, for Paquet, you can see a really good player that you would think should be better than top 100.
We have watched the confidence drain from the 30-year-old Frenchwoman in her debut here. Second appearance for Bencic in the United Cup, and that survived quite a lot in the early part of this set, but looking to close it out right here. and Bencic very much back in the groove as Team Switzerland takes this opening set by 6 games to 3. Andrea, when you did actually have a win against Belinda in Washington, 7-6 in the deciding set, but it was the hot one. And I'd love to get your thoughts on what really, I know you have a different games and skill set to Paquet, but what really worked for you against her?
Nicely played. Well, to be very frank with you, I hated playing her. It was so uncomfortable. She put you in so many uncomfortable positions. And I think the one time I did manage to beat her, the biggest difference was I really attacked the second serve. I took a few unforced errors into account. I accepted them. I really went for the second serve. And I focused on not being pushed back behind the baseline because she takes the ball so early. Your instinct is to give yourself more time. And that's when you take a few steps back and you try to let the ball come to you. And that's what Paquet did after she missed those few break points.
First game, second
And I think
set.
that's the biggest challenge against somebody like Bencic, who stands so close up on the baseline, takes so many balls inside the baseline, to yourself defend the baseline on your side and sort of take care of your own side, because you are being pushed back by her aggressiveness. And I think that's what I managed well in that one victory I had. But thank you for not mentioning the 10 other matches I lost.
There wasn't as many as that.
It was 4
We've got a long summer together. I'm not gonna annoy you.
Destroy my
I'm your positive commentator. I only give good results. I never mention the losses, which we all forget once we finish playing. But I tell you, it was interesting. A friend of mine watched Belinda play when she was about 11 or 12. She was coaching on the junior tour. And Belinda, you know how a lot of juniors are moonballing. She told me about how she was coming in, drive volleying, up on the baseline, even at that age. So it's instinctive to her. Oh yeah.
And there's another one that's very Martina Hingis-like. And Sam, when you say that she was even playing like this in the juniors, I remember I was still playing and it was Fed Cup at the time, and Belinda made her debut. She was 15. I played in the mixed doubles against her, and she was doing this, taking the ball this early. But that is Melanie Molito, which is Martina Hingis's mum, and I trained a lot with Martina. I was always taking the ball on the rise, taking it early, that off the outside leg, running through your shot. That is how she coached Martina, and Belinda was a big part of that as well in her junior days.
I wonder if you got kicked out the academy if you let the ball hit the top of the bounce and drop. It's like out.
And also the dry volley. If there was anything, any moon balls, anything high, you go in and you take that as a dry volley, even in practice, even off the baseline. Another thing that I think is very interesting with a player like Paquet, where we talk a lot about her being just outside the top 100. It's whether you can keep the level of play and the physicality. It's been 55 minutes for the first set, but can you keep it going? Can you keep that level? And Belinda can. We know that, even on this comeback. But from Paquet, it's been very obvious that the level's dropped. And the top players, they can do it for 2 or 3 hours for 3 sets.
No, breaking for fun now.
Team Switzerland. Team Switzerland is 2 games to love.
That racket really has done the trick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I know we laugh about changing the equipment and it's all in their mind, but since she switched the racket, she's obviously very sensitive to. And what I also love about Belinda, she's a great believer in, she used this frame, very similar frame, the same mate, all the way through. She has not, she's not switched manufacturers, so the game has, as Todd Bridge always tells me, has grown around her racket. You haven't had the, we haven't had the Todd.
My game has never grown,
Okay.
so I don't know how that must
But
feel.
you need to have that conversation with Todd Woodbridge. He's, he's fascinating about the racket. And I guess now she's done the hard work out here, it's about maintaining concentration. She's played very few matches in the last 16 months and just driving this home as she would have done when she was, you know, a top 10 player.
And that's one of the rare points, really, since those break points in the 6th game where Paquet has been able to be aggressive. So for me, what I can see here courtside is she's actually lost pace a bit on her shots, and that level's dropped. But for Bencic, it's probably more, like you said, Sam, it's the concentration of, okay, let's get this over the line and let's not lose intensity and concentration and finish this match off.
Fifteen, 30.
No, that's too good, and I think now is time for Chloe Paquet to make a change in her game. If she can't keep up the pace, if she can't keep up that intensity, the defending of the baseline, maybe change it up in different ways. Play a bit higher, maybe a slice. Just test out that movement of Belinda Bencic, who has been out for so long, coming back from maternity leave here to the big stage and playing really well already. Jinxed her. Sorry.
I'll tell her afterwards. Second double in the game. But there's a little door opening here for Paquet. Her first chance to break in quite some time.
Get for service.
Neatly done.
Deuce.
Broken only the once. In the fourth game of the opening set, which is she held the early advantage.
Advantage, Team Switzerland.
Non mais là, allez.
Perfectly swept away. Team France hanging on here.
Deuce.
Yelena, how fast is this court historically?
Historically, quite fast, and perhaps even maybe a little bit faster than Melbourne. And
so not ideal for Paquet then, who
no,
likes the
not
nice
at all. Especially when you
clay.
Yeah, especially when you play Bencic, who's a little bit of a flatter hitter. Like that. So she's a flatter hitter, and then the ball also skids through a bit more, which you can actually see here courtside that the ball off that just went straight. There was no kind of bit of a bounce as well. So worst kind of opponent, I would say, for Paquet.
And court.
Yes. See that? Just stays low. That was a great camera angle.
Deuce.
Let's go next one.
Advantage, Team Switzerland.
Druga lopta, ulači si to, pojď.
It's the run going, 7 games in a row now for Team Switzerland, and they are in charge of this opening match.
Team Switzerland is 3 games to love.
I can't be focusing on my ball.
No, I know.
Because I cannot let go of the ball.
Okay.
So,
No. And then I feel...
say ball toss.
No, but then you need to say that.
I know, but I just realized. I was like, focus on the ball. They take me. Then my hands went.
It's almost like don't focus on it, just be aware, like there, when you threw one up, you caught it. Whereas
Yes, but I do that automatically.
and then when they're first 2 or 3, you're like, oh shit, now she's not thinking about the point. No, okay, from the break point down, then you just return to the... What is it? What play? There's one more here for the change. Yeah.
it Walter?
No, I'm saying 180. Yeah, no problem.
Dominic Stricker there warming up and getting ready for his match. He'll be up next for Team Switzerland against Ugo Humbert, the world number 14. Stricker really had his year cruelled by injury. Currently 300 in the world, has been inside the top 100 before. 22 years of age, a former world number 3 junior, next gen finalist in 22 and 23, so has plenty of talent. Hopefully gets a good run at it in 2025. Humbert leads that head-to-head 1-0 after a victory in Basel last year. At the moment, Belinda Bencic, she's in control of this match and has really put Team Switzerland in a good position against Team France.
Love 15. Love 30.
32 games. There was a couple of breaks. They didn't look the golf with their inexperience and achievement, but it's a chasm now. And Paquet will do well to hang on at any point in this second set. It's getting away from her very quickly.
Love 40.
She won't be missing those 40. In a few weeks' time, will she?
I don't think
that
so.
was an easy volley.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. You could tell her just kind of stopping. She has a nice smile about it. Is that an ironic smile? Unclear. Could have possibly taken one step closer to the net to make it a bit easier. But you're exactly right. In a couple of weeks, I don't think we'll be seeing her miss this.
Game.
And a fifth break now of Paquet's serve. And Yelena, you're with Edouard Rocha-Vasselin. Are you going to try and cheer them up there on the French bench?
Yeah, well, I am here with the French team, and they've already pretty much made me like I'm French. We're joking here, everything really welcome. But I'm here with Edouard Rocha-Vasselin. Welcome to Australia. We heard from your captain that he had a very different Christmas and had a burger for Christmas lunch. How did you spend your Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I bring my family here also, my wife and my 2 kids, so we were all together, the team and my family, for a dinner. I had the steak, the Australian steak, but yeah, it was nice to at least be together. I'm lucky I have my family here, so it's good. It's first time spending Christmas with this hot weather, but it's different and we enjoy this.
Well, you've been a professional now for 23 years. In 3 decades, you started in 2002. I don't know if you even knew that, but what keeps you coming back?
I think the love of the game, obviously, and also because of my family. I want them to, my kids to watch me playing. I think my biggest goal was last year to play the Olympics in France, and I'm still healthy. I still enjoy playing, representing my country. So I'm happy to be here, and hopefully we'll have a good season.
And they will see you, hopefully, out here today. We'll see how this match develops. It could be 1-1, we don't know. So it could be a live mixed doubles. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, well, this one is gonna be tough. We never know, but it's gonna be tough. And then, of course, we all trust in Hugo Humbert to win the next one. And yeah, if we have a deciding mixed doubles, I'll be ready.
And your family will get to see you play again.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, good luck and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Edouard is still going strong, and he has an Andy Murray hip. He has a resurfaced hip. So it's done the job. Former Grand Slam doubles champion, one of the best in the world, and still at the top of the game. And they might be needing him later on. We shall see. But right now it's advantage Switzerland. All the lines scored electronically.
15-30.
If you're wondering why there aren't any challenges. Players still like to see it though, don't they?
Yeah, they absolutely do. Despite them knowing that there is nothing to be done about it. It just feels good to have it on screen one more time.
Well, it's wonderful for the French fans to get the chance to support Paquet here, but she really needs them. Everything's flowing now for Bencic. Well, she did have actually a chance to break Bencic in the last service game. Didn't take that sole opportunity.
Deuce. Advantage, Team Switzerland.
Well, Bencic couldn't have scripted the season opener really any better. An opponent that she knew she was well capable of handling. Worked out a few gremlins in an opening set and flying through the second. And she is one game away from giving Switzerland the ideal start.
Team Switzerland is 5 games to love.
Well, I think there's a reason why so many of the players want to come down to this part of the world at the start of a new year, and why not? There'll be thousands, hundreds of thousands gathered on the quayside in just a few days' time. You can understand why it's still considered one of the world's most iconic harbour. Have you been on a boat?
I haven't
down
yet.
at Circular Quay?
Not yet.
Okay. Never? You must have done. No. Right.
Playing Perth, not far from starting. Team Canada against Team Croatia. It's Leila Fernandez, the US Open runner-up from a few years back against Donna Vekic. And what a year she has had in 2024. Semi-final at Wimbledon, a silver medal at the Paris Olympics. That is a cracking contest. First up from Perth's RAC Arena. Team Canada against Team Croatia. Very much looking forward to that one and looking forward to seeing if Belinda Bencic can close this one out. Chloe Paquet serving to remain in the contest. It's Team Switzerland close to the victory against Team France.
Just seems to be hitting the ball more confident and harder by the second, if that's even possible.
15 love.
That was a shot we didn't see a lot of in the first set. That forehand down the line. Now in the second, she's gained the confidence to try that more often, despite the miss here.
Love.
Belinda loves these team formats, of course. We should remind ourselves that twice with Roger Federer, which was another mixed team event, she won the Hopman Cup, and then a couple of years ago led Switzerland to the Billie Jean King Cup title.
Yeah, 14-15.
Now, is there something for Paquet here, who has felt rather scrunched up, I have to say, in this encounter? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Team France.
And we talked about how things kind of ran away here from Chloe Paquet, who manages to get on the board in the second set. And we have these beautiful stats here that we don't want to go to waste. And this is one of the reasons why this match has become so lopsided. Take a look at this. This is Bencic's backhand hit point. Almost half of these balls are being taken inside the baseline. And you saw before what it did to Paquet's backhand. She's being pushed back further and further behind the baseline. The pressure is constantly on. We see errors flying off the record. And we see what she's capable of, Chloe Paquet, and I have to say a lot of the second set has to do with how well Belinda Bencic played. She just hasn't let Chloe play her game. She hasn't let her use the forehand to put some pressure on her opponent. So this has been a great set and a half from her, and maybe Chloe will get a small little foot in the door here.
Opening up the full repertoire now. Just flicking through those pages.
15 all.
Also for Paquet, the ball may have been hit harder at her on the lower reaches of the tour, but I'd be surprised if she had so little time.
Yeah.
Simply by, as you both yourself and Elaine have been saying, about the court position and taking the ball so early from her opponent. That has what has frazzled her out here this morning.
And that's such a good point that you're making, Sam, because there's two ways you can take time away from your opponent: by hitting it harder and taking it earlier. And Belinda does both, and that's what's so devastating about her game, and that's why she's been as high as number 4 in the world.
Yeah, 14-15.
Well, she's given us a very good reminder of what she can do and why she has been such a top player and what may be in the future for Belinda Bencic. But now Team France at match point. Excuse me, Team Switzerland. First day back on the job.
Set the match, Team Switzerland.
It's the perfect start for Team Switzerland.
6-3, 6-1.
Is back. Straight sets, very comfortable. Little under an hour and a half. 6-3, 6-1. And she gets her team off to a flyer. And this is the part we love about United Cup. It is about sportsmanship, teamsmanship, respecting that you're not just playing an individual, you're playing